It is the Matt Mosley Show, and let's go right to him. Mark Campbell, the TCU head women's basketball coach, joining us now. And well, we we had him briefly there. We're this is how I like starting a show, with a little bit of chaos. He's back. He's back, Kev. There he is, Mark Campbell. Hey, welcome to the Matt Mosley Show. I have really admire the job you've done at TCU, even though I went to Baylor grad. It's tough I liked it probably better when Baylor was dominant for all those years against TCU, but I think it is fun that, now it's really has turned into a rivalry. Welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Matt, thanks for having me. First of all, I won't hold it against you that you're a Baylor Bear. And you guys have owned this series. Baylor has for many, many years. And I'm glad that we got the program to a point that it's turning into, I think, one of the best rivalry games in college basketball.
Yeah, I have to think, when I think of like what Signetti did at Indiana, you coming to TCU, and I knew you had great credentials and you'd recruited really well, but when a place has gone that long without winning, there's going to be skeptics, and it's just kind of hard. And so you probably encountered all kinds of hurdles, but man, your attitude and the kind of the way you have attacked things, looking back, what was the thing you had to figure out first? Because it's like the chicken or the egg thing. How do you get the fan base excited? Well, you got to win, right? But you kind of need the fans to be there to support everybody. What was in those early days, Mark? What do you think were the first big things, other than obviously you brought in some major talent and you seem to like to surround yourself with 6-7 women? What were the early things that allowed you to kind of quickly get this thing going and because it's honestly probably one of the biggest turnarounds in the past 20 years in college women's basketball.
Yeah, Matt, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's been a rapid rise and quick turnaround. And the first piece of the puzzle, you inherit this team that's 1-17 in the Big 12. I think they won 8 games overall the year before. And so your first order is you need talent. That's step one. And there's 2 ways to do that in modern college athletics. There's a high school route, and then there's a portal route. Okay. And when you're 1-17, I got news. None of the elite high school kids are signing up to come jump on the grenade with you. And so, but high school recruiting, you need, if you want to eventually get the elite high school kid, you need to dive into it with the younger age groups and recruiting classes. So you start doing that. But the only way to get the thing out of the hole at a Power 4 level is the portal. And so we dove into that and studied that market. And we got very fortunate with some kids over the last 2.5 years. Matt, and I don't know if you know the breakdown. We signed 18 portal players. We have signed 6 in each recruiting class, so 6 each year. And we've gone from a 1-17 team to last year, obviously the pinnacle, and going 34-4.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and now, of course, the fans love that stuff, and they like getting on board, and you've seen that, and Baylor is a different animal.
Yeah.
Nikki Collins done a really nice job, but you honestly followed the right situation. You followed a place that had struggled mightily, and you've set it on fire and got it going a little bit. Nikki does the thing they say not to do, right? Follow in step and follow a legend. And of course what Kim's done at LSU and everything. What have you probably knew, and all y'all have crossed paths. What did you know about Nikki, and then what have you kind of seen about Baylor's program? Obviously you got these last 2 wins against her, but what stands out about the Baylor program right now?
Yeah, good question. Well, actually, we got 3 in a row. Last year, we ended up winning the 2 league, and then we battled in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry I
we've had,
shorted you one. I'm trying to, as a Baylor guy, I'm trying to, yeah, not play these things up too much. Yeah.
she has, so first of all, there's obstacles with and benefits with taking over a program that has great tradition, that has a built-in fan base, that has money and supporters, and there's obstacles that come with that. So it's fast. I study this stuff. I study new head coaches. I absolutely love it. College football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and so my whole career I've studied this stuff. And so her following Mulkey and inheriting that program, there's huge benefits, but there's a lot of pressure and stuff that comes with that you have to overcome. Taking over at TCU, you have zero fan base, you have no resources, no NIL money. You're building the thing from scratch, but there's no expectations either. And so each one of those are completely different dynamics, and I think each one of them we can dive into it, but they each come with different challenges.
How do you go after someone like Olivia Miles? You've had great success in the portal. She's one of the most recognizable players in college sports. Boy, Haley the year before, people that are extremely well known. But obviously, you would have a ton of people that would want a player of that caliber. What is your pitch when you're going after somebody of that caliber? Because each year you seem to add one of those kind of superstars, and then you put some really other good players around them. But because I know you probably have some great donors, but it's not like these schools are putting all their rev share into women's basketball. So how do you do these things?
Matt, that's a secret sauce, man. You want me to give away?
Yes, please. How do we do this?
Listen, well, there's a lot of things that go into that in modern day college athletics. I was fortunate to spend 7 years at the University of Oregon and help Coach Graves. We built a juggernaut there and had the #1 team in the country. And so as you're doing that, I had the opportunity to recruit the best players from all over the world, and the best of the best, and you build a web and a network in the relationship aspect. And so, when I was at Oregon, I got a chance to recruit Haley Van Lith. I got a chance to recruit Olivia Miles, and not just those ones, but the best players around the world. And so, never in a million years when I was at Oregon did I think 5 years later I'd go to Sac State, go to TCU, and Olivia Miles would end up in the portal. But how you treat people, the relationships you build, the web you connect with in the women's basketball circle, and then that's part of it, and then I think our style of play. We play a 4-out spread pick and roll. It's very modern. It's what the WNBA and the NBA is. And so you're playing a pro style system that playmaking guards can come and hoop and ball out, and showcase their talent. And so Haley, a year ago, was obviously an incredible billboard for our system, for our culture, for our university. And Haley and her success opened the door, and Olivia got to watch it, observe it, and see it. And so it's one of those things you kind of got to. We're a brand name now where people are reaching out to us. So as you put this roster together a year ago when that portal opened up, yes, now we have donors that support us. Yes, we have a style of play that's fun. And then I've now been a part of, I think there's 14 WNBA draft picks that I've got to coach and be a part of their journey. And so you put all that together, all of a sudden you got Olivia Miles in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, I'm sure she likes the stockyards and barbecue and all the things that are available to her there. The things she can do with her offhand are sort of uncommon, and whipping those passes and everything. And then I'm sure you could do some really good giveaways. Have you considered, having like a goggle night or something, some giveaways in that area? Because she's got that look that you're like, okay. I mean, she probably is maybe the most recognizable player in college basketball right now, women's wise.
No doubt. Her look is unique and special. I know the marketing team has something in the works as we, finish up the last couple of home games and down the home stretch. And those passes, you guys, my age growing up, my generation, I'll be 45 this year. Watching Jason Kidd at Cal Prime, there's just not many men or women that can zip one-handed cross-court passes with the left, the right, no look with flair. The other one that my childhood was the two that had that, Jason Williams, White Chocolate, when he was playing with the Sacramento Kings, and Jason Kidd at Cal. Were two of the ones that I relate to. Her vision, it's a gift. You don't teach it to someone, they have it. And so the only thing we've done here is put her in space. We always have a monster center. Last year we had Sedona Prince. Then we got Clara Silva. And then we surround our playmakers with shooters so that court's spread. And Haley Van Lith last year broke our single season assist record. And now Olivia's on pace to shatter that one. And so I think it's, again, you're just putting these talented playmaking guards in an environment and system where they get a showcase and you turn them loose. And it's been pretty magical.
Yeah, Luca comes to mind. He can do some of that. And I saw White Chocolate put a move. Some old video came up on Gary Payton on the glove, and it was unbelievable. He even, one of the greatest defenders of all time, he put him on the ground, and it was before he was the first one. We didn't really know about breaking ankles, did we? It's like, is that Hardaway? I guess it was Hardaway that started doing some of that with that moves, and now. At both the men's and women's games, you see a lot of that. It is funny you mentioned that with Clara and then Kennedy coming off the bench. You function really well, and you came with your what does Dion say? You came with your Louis Vuitton. You had a 6'7", or she was even maybe taller than that when you arrived in Fort Worth. It's interesting because, and then UCLA seems to function. I'm thinking about Betts. I mean, in this game, that's just hard to defend, right? And when you have a 6'7" woman, there's only, and South Carolina at times has had somebody, someone maybe that tall, but it's still pretty uncommon. So if you can get someone talented at that height, why not? Why in the world wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, no doubt. It in the college game, it's still it plays a huge part. In the NBA, the WNBA, that true center, that true 5-man is kind of getting phased out.
No.
It's becoming a little more 5 out at the NBA, WNBA, but for what we do, you need a stud center because it impacts the way you do your pick and rolls. It makes it really hard for teams to switch. And if you're not switching, then that means it's a cat and mouse game with Olivia Miles in the defense. And so, and usually in that game, she's pretty special. So it's just based on our style of play, our system. Again, we're trying to find. The truth is, you want more than one playmaker. At the end of the day, in a perfect world, you want 3 players on the court that can manipulate a pick and roll, that can shoot that thing, and that can create for each other. And so as we build this program and get more depth and more talent, ultimately you want 3 of them.
And you're not having to get players like off the campus anymore, are you? You had that one thing I remember that was amazing a few years ago where I bet you still keep in touch with some of those. Didn't you have some? You had to have some open tryouts, bring in some.
Matt, it's part of the movie. Listen, the picture behind me, they called them the Underfrogs instead of the Underdogs. That group got called the Underfrogs. And Matt, that's almost 2 years ago. Wow. Which is crazy how far we've come. But right behind me, I'm just in our conference room, but there's a mural of the Underfrogs, and with a big word that it says grit. I don't know if you can see it behind me. And and then there's a book called Grit, and her name's Angela Duckworth, and she's the world most renowned person, and and the U.S. military has hired her, and that's her definition of grit. And so year 1, when we had the open tryouts, we forfeited 2 games. We took four kids from the rec center so we could finish our season. And we ended up winning 21 games that year. But that group of kids laid a foundation. I truly believe this, Matt, and rolled up their sleeves that led to last year's 34-4 team. And then now, we're 21-4. And so that first year was no fun. But I'll tell you what, it played a huge role in what's been built here.
The game needs more personalities like you. And I was watching the other night, like the Kentucky coach and Vic Schaefer, and I was watching this back and forth, and I'm sure you've seen it. And the Kentucky coach is like, I don't like that style. It's within the rules, but it's kind of going up to the rules. And I don't like the way they play defense and all of that. But that is to me, that is what, I mean, the players, obviously, and some of these games are so great. The crowd the other night at that Texas, was that Texas LSU? Yeah, I mean, there was, and then, but that's fascinating when you see coaches that back and forth. And I do think there's some personality stuff that the women's game, it still feels like a grassroots thing sometimes, but when you see places fill 17 and 18,000, I mean, see what happens at LSU. Even the Moody Center the other night looked pretty cool at UT. And think about how long it's been since UT women's basketball. Jody had it rolling, and then it was kind of in the wilderness for a while. That's got to be pretty cool for you to see and turn on a game and see the University of Texas, which is usually a wine and cheese crowd, kind of amped up, ready for women's basketball.
You nailed it, Matt. You did. One, Vic's got it rolling, and that Coach Brooks and Vic, I saw that they were going back and forth after it was Kentucky, Texas, but that place was sold out. It was rocking. But how about our state right now? We got Texas Tech women got it rolling over there in Lubbock. Baylor and Nikki got it rolling. Vic down there has got it rolling, and we got a really good ball club, top 15 team in the country, and so. There's 4 programs in our state right now on the women's side that have special seasons going, and it's fun, and some of the best talent on the women's side's in our state, and so it's our job to make sure we keep it here. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, you won't see me in too many of those back and forth things. I listen. We're going to go out there and hoop. We're going to go out there, do our pick and roll. We've led last season. We led the country in threes made, and so we shoot that thing. And hopefully this year, I don't know where we're at in the pecking order. We got to be up there, but man, that's something we do. I think our style of play is fun to watch. I don't know. Did you watch the game at Louisville last year when we got to punch our ticket to the Sweet 16 and the Schollmeyer was sold out?
Yeah. Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Man, that thing was rocking. So our state right now has some good women's basketball going on.
All right, and let me ask you just about this Baylor team ahead of this matchup. Talia Scott is their leading scorer. It's been an interesting team because I think, Bugs, Nikki's had to kind of remind a couple of players, hey, this is what you do. Bella Fauntleroy is a really fine defender. But as you've seen probably with your players in the past, some of them that want to be in the WNBA, they're like, wait, shouldn't I be doing this and doing this? And so you have to sometimes remind players, this is what you're really good at doing. What stands out about this Baylor team? Because obviously they'll play some defense. Now they'll shoot a bunch of threes. Making them is sometimes a different story. But what stands out to you about kind of preparing for a team like this?
One, they're really good. Nikki's doing her and her staff are doing a great job. Talia Scott's one of the best natural scorers in college basketball. The kid just puts the ball in the hole. It's easy for her. And they're putting her in some good spots and the actions they run for her. And very similar, they run a lot of pick and roll stuff. Jonna, I think, their point guard is having a fantastic season. She's kind of just been steady and consistent all year in running the show for them. And then they got a lot of versatility, with Bugs and Fauntleroy. They're both kind of hybrid forwards where they can rebound, they can defend a bunch of different positions. Bugs impacts the game a little more around the rim and on the glass and as a slasher. And Bella can really shoot it. They're using her more as a guard, but she's unique because she's so versatile on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side. And then they got a kind of three-head monster at the center position where they can rotate some big bodies. So they're deep, they're talented, they're athletic. They can come at you a lot of different ways. So I mean, they're really good. They have a really good team, and it's why right now they're in sole possession of first place.
All right. Do you have a good full court press? I noticed they had a little issue with the with the press recently, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that ain't any that Matt. That's just not any random press. That West Virginia press down there in Morgantown is no
Ooh.
joke. I don't know how many turnovers they forced that night. It might have been 30, 31 turnovers.
Yeah.
It was something like that. But Coach Kellogg down there, he puts that 2-2-1 press on you in Morgantown, and he cranks up the dial. It's no fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's going to be a fun atmosphere, and I'm hoping the Bears fans show up. They don't let too many frogs in there. I was at the guys' game last night, and the Mormons, the BYU folks, they were let too many of them in there. So I'm going to talk to folks and make sure the TCU fans are kind of contained right there behind your bench, and they don't allow them to spread out too much. But wouldn't that be fun to see about 7,500 people in there and see if you guys could extend that winning streak, which I tried to short you on a little bit?
I hope they pack that place out, and then we get a turnaround, and I hope we can pack it out here in the Shoal. It's kind of fun. Obviously, the Big 12 saved both these games for ESPN down the home stretch of the season as March Madness is approaching. I watched that game. How talented is that AJ kid at Baylor or at BYU? Golly, geez, for a freshman. But Baylor, man, they travel well. They got incredible support. I hope Horned Frogs, I hope a whole bunch of purple sneaks in there, Matt, and finds their way into the crowd. But listen, we play twice in the next 2 weeks with the chance, both of us, down the home stretch competing for a league title. So I'm expecting two just wars, battles. That will be great basketball games.
All right, and last I had for you, that Big 12, it just jumped into my mind. Did you see that new glass court they have for the Big 12 women's tournament, which has been a great tournament, and they finally got the women out of that municipal. I don't think you had to coach in that place, did you? They had you down in that barn that was been there since like 1917 and got over the T-Mobile Center. But what did you think of that court? I think they've used something like that maybe for some NBA stuff, like maybe an all-star game, that kind of thing. LED lights, the whole deal. Does that you think that'll appeal to the audience? And what do you think? What do you think about that at first glance?
Well, let's just give a shout out to Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, pushing the envelope. I love him. I love his leadership, his business savvy. He wants to make sure he puts the Big 12 ahead of every other league, and so this is one of the ways to do that. We got a chance to practice on it, Matt. So what they did, they built this whole facility right next to the Orlando Magic's arena practice facility. So every NBA team that plays there will go practice on the court out there. And so teams that play at UCF this year have the opportunity to go practice on the court if you want. So it's a little bit out of the way if you're playing at UCF, but we were one of the programs that chose to go have a day and practice there. Matt, the thing's insane. Nothing like you've ever seen. It's incredible. It's cutting edge. We'll be the only conference in the country that does something like this. And so it was valuable to get on there, shoot, sweat, play. We got an hour and a half practice on it. So I'm glad we did that. But it's, I'm a fan, and I think it's going to be awesome for the Big 12 tournament.
Does it feel different? Like walking around on it or dribbling, or is there any just different feel to it?
No, so when you walk in, mentally, yes. Like it's literally a glass court with these LEDs where you can click a button and you can change the whole. It can look like a home game for TCU and click a button, and all of a sudden you're playing on the home court at Baylor. And that takes 2 seconds to do. And then for advertising, they can do that however they want. So it's endless. The possibilities are endless, but once the kids started sweating and shooting and just playing, they didn't even think anything of it. None, zero. It was natural. It feels the same. The technology's insane. And they've used it, I think, the NBA All-Star Game. I think Big Blue Madness for Kentucky. Over in Europe for some of the big FIBA events. So they've been using the court and testing it at major events around the world. But Matt, it's crazy. Technology's insane.
Man, I mean, they could barely keep the court swept where I grew up playing in Kaufman, Texas. So a glass court, that is very interesting. Maybe it's easier to clean up spills too, as we saw in
It is
Nebraska.
actually.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Nebraska ran into some, I don't know if you saw that last
Yeah,
night.
I did.
Some moisture over there. And that's why you have to have, good people out there, mopping up the court and running out there. Coach, thank you, man. This was really fun. Big game. And this will kind of be who's in charge of the conference, who wins this. And then there'll be a rematch coming up soon after. So it's really cool that these two schools are such a big, huge part of the Big 12 and what you've done at TCU. I'm a great admirer. So congrats on all your success, and thanks for doing this.
Matt, it's great. Thanks for allowing me to be on your show. This was awesome. Anytime you want me, you reach out and enjoy the game. Are you going to be there?
I will definitely be there. All right. So I may show up and be grilling you with questions afterwards. So
I'm sure you'll be wearing some green and yellow. I'm okay with that. Just know we should have a friendly man bet. If we get this done, you might need a purple TCU shirt on your show one of these days.
Or I might have to get, gosh, I don't know if I could do that. It's about as close to purple as I can get, this blue shirt. Maybe I'll agree to get the Mark Campbell, the high and tight haircut. Maybe if TCU wins. All right. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
This was awesome. Enjoy your day.
Okay, you do the same. There he goes. Mark Campbell, the TCU women's basketball coach. And I get a kick out of that guy because he's got at first I thought, Kevin, that is this guy kind of cocky and all? And then at some point I realized I'm like, he's just kind of, this is who he is. He's got high energy. And again, I know it's not college football, so it seems weird to, compare it to Signetti, but the truth is that team, they had decent teams literally maybe 15 years ago or something, but really had not accomplished anything. And now suddenly year in, year out, that's a top 15 type program, top 20 at least. But it's kind of amazing what he's done. And Kevin, that's why I pressed to have him on camera, because the audio doesn't do him justice, because he brings a lot of energy to the table. Yeah.
Having lived in Eugene during his time there are a lot of people that I know that actually credit the success of that program at that time to his recruiting, and because he's the one that got Sabrina, got all that stacked the roster for them to be able to do what they were doing. And then he turned around to kind of, almost to Signetti, it took a pay cut to go to Sacramento State to be a head coach, and was the Big Sky Coach of the Year that year. Had a couple years there, and then turned around, and now he turns around TCU.
They were 3-22. They were horrible.
Right.
And he kind of got it going. And I didn't I want to bring this up with him because I don't want to stir anything up, but how could A&M, which is just awful. Think about it. They just won a national title in volleyball, and they've got that enormous athletics budget. First of all, how are they so bad at women's basketball? It's whoa. And they paid this coach. They have a lot of money, and they're horrific at women's basketball. If I were the Aggies and I wanted to win in college, women's hoops, I'd be like, I want him. I'll take that. Because their best success came with Gary Blair. It's who the court's named after. They won a national title with him. So they know what it's like to have a man, man coach, a male coach in a women's game. And Gary Blair was a very famous coach and did a good job there. But, and I'm not that you can't go find an incredible female coach. I mean, some of these coaches that have been hired, the Texas Tech coach, the Oklahoma coach, Barancic, Molly at Arizona State, who Baylor beat the other night by 3. Nikki at Baylor. I mean, big time coaches in the women's game, but this guy can coach, man, and he's a character on top of that. And so, good job, Kevin. That was a Kevin. Kevin just kind of stayed after it and got us Mark Campbell. Now, we'll do some Campus Confidential coming up, and then we have a long, really cool interview coming up with Baylor offensive coordinator Jake Spavital. So that'll start right around 2:30. All right, we'll probably break at about 2:25, and then we'll have Jake Spavital today, and right around then. And I mean, wow, that is going to be some good stuff because we're talking DJ Lagway. He coached Fernando Mendoza. I think Baylor people will be interested in how he wants to use Lagway. Really, really good stuff coming up on the show. But Kevin, I want to give you full credit for getting us Mark Campbell, who somehow years ago, you and Mark Campbell's kids crossed paths like on the youth basketball or the elementary school age basketball. I think it was fourth grade basketball.
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
My daughter, who's now 17, played with his daughter, who is now 17, and was coached by Mark's wife, Ashley, who is also an incredible basketball mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Did you tell those TCU people, did you use that to help us get Mark?
Oh,
good.
Yeah. You kidding me? Yeah.
Did you like how,
incidentally, I was the assistant coach for the middle school boys team that turned our program around and had a winning season my son's 8th grade year. So
okay. Kev, I do need you to timestamp. We're going to have to really, I want to get plenty of shorts, and I want to play this interview up because I may have made some promises, Kevin, that this was going to do pretty well, and I do think it will. All right, Kevin, but let's promote it. Let's promote it heavily as we tend to do because we got this big time Baylor offensive coordinator interview today. We opened the show with Mark Campbell and very good work by Brady there, the women's SID there to kind of set us up and get us going. And that's one of the great things about, Kevin, covering women's hoops is because as big time as they are, there's still this thought of, hey, we need to do this interview. We need to grow the game. Now, Kevin, if you called Gino Ariema today and said, hey, Gino, we're going to need you for tomorrow, it might not be that easy, right? But for the most part,
I would do it.
Well, I know you would. And so now that you landed Mark Campbell for us, I'm going to really be asking for a lot. In fact, I would like Signetti on this show. All right. And why in the world would you not attempt that?
Of course.
I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with the wording because I have some thoughts on how I think we could land that. You're going to have to use some of the old Mosley's past to help us land that. But it would not hurt to play up the fact that you went to IU. Your IU ties help us. And I love a coach, and Nikki's kind of like this too. I like the women's coaches who are also way into all the other stuff. Like you could tell he was watching the Baylor BYU game last night. He knew about the whole Nebraska craziness from last night. You know, he's way into sports. And so I kind of thought he was cocky, and now I kind of like Mark Campbell. It's the problem with me talking to these people is sometimes it makes me change I used to make fun of somebody like, I think it was Porter Moser, the Oklahoma men's basketball coach, for wearing his shirt so tight. And I thought he was very, very cocky. And then one time after a Baylor game and the Sooners had lost, I just had this back and forth with Porter. And I got to say, I was kind of like, dang, I kind of like him. That's why young people, rather than just spout out all your hot takes, you should still try to go to the games and cover and ask questions and actually know these people, because it's easy just to sit back and rip on people and go, I don't like this guy. And I've done some of that. But sometimes you do get to kind of need to get to know some of these folks. Kevin, what time is it? Let me look here. Oh, wow. We've rolled right into the 1 o'clock hour. And we've got this huge interview coming up today at 2:30. That's Jake Spavital. You want to hear it live, you'll want to be with us at 2:30. You want to, get it on the podcast. We'll have it up everywhere for that. But I like the live show, and I like people signing up when we have these kind of big-time interviews. You'll want to sign up for our YouTube page because we got a lot of people following us on Twitter, especially TCU fans right now, women's basketball fans. If you're wanting to get more of what we do, subscribe to the YouTube page. And then you can, on the YouTube comment section, you just give us your little thoughts. And Kevin's real good about just throwing it right up on the page. All right, there's one right now. Bobby B. Let's go Bears. Need to school the Toads. Sick 'em. I'm glad you didn't put that up there when Coach was on.
It was up there. I decided to wait.
I like that.
And there we go.
I like that. Now, and I like Bobby B. He's very dedicated to the show. I saw last night as I left the game, I saw T-Rex standing out there. I saw young Will from Sick'em 365, who I like a lot. Really does a good job. I noticed Levi Caraway, who really covers Baylor baseball well, and Baylor football, I might add. But Levi's back on Baylor baseball, and so I was glad to see that. In fact, today I was going to read up on my Baylor baseball because he has a real nice preview going. So really, it was just fun last night. I had my daughter with me and just all these Baylor people. There was some guy that was working I've seen him around, and he had one of these beautiful green jackets on. So he obviously was kind of a big dog at Baylor. But I don't quite know him. I just know what he looks like, kind of. And he comes up and he's like, "Hey, has anybody told you you have a face for radio?" And he was a fan of my old radio show, and it was just really neat, Kevin, to all the people. We got to sit down low yesterday, but all the people, and even after the game, I talked to Scott Drew last night, and let me just tell you, help is on the way. If you think they're going to have another season like this again, you're wrong. They will move heaven and earth to make sure. I can't guarantee anything about football. I think it's going to be better. I think it'll be more exciting. I think this quarterback's going to be very interesting. Spavital is going to give him a great chance of success. All right. I can guarantee you that Scott Drew will not let this happen again. What has happened this year? You go, oh, man, what about Rob? What about these injuries? What about that? And Scott and I have been talking, and I'm just trying to get a feel for the changes that'll be made and what they'll need to do. Some of it will be, hey, they need more money, but a lot of it's going to be, we got to change the way that Baylor, the way they handle the portal from an evaluation standpoint. All right. As they say in the movies, Kevin, mistakes were made. And they'll have to alleviate that. All right. Let's do some Campus Confidential. And then a reminder at about right around 2:30, Jake Spavital, offensive coordinator for Baylor. And like we tend to do, Kevin, tomorrow leading up to the huge game, now we have Nikki and we have Mark. So we'll be able to go back and maybe provide some of those interviews, getting you ready for tomorrow's game. We're good like that. We can kind of, how do we call that, Kevin? Like
I am a professional video editor, and so I'm gonna
love that. I love that. But kind of like I know what we used to call it. Repurpose.
Yes.
We're going to repurpose some of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, glad we can bring all this to you. And Kevin, I had a great thing yesterday that I wanted to announce here today, and you can put it up on the screen because I haven't even told you this. I told Corey, our founder / owner of Rogue Media Network, and Corey was excited. Corey Dickman, Kevin, you remember him. Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James. For my money, and in that modern Waco magazine, I think they've called them the best law firm in town in the past. I think they win a lot of awards, but mainly for their clients, they win enormous financial verdicts. All right. And Kev, yesterday, as I was making my way into Waco for the game, we re-upped with them, and they signed a what we would call a contract extension. And unlike Rob Wright, they honor their signatures in their contracts. And so, in fact, if Baylor had have put Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James in charge of going after Rob Wright after he broke that contract, I think something would have happened. Either Baylor would have gotten some money back or, something. Okay. So I think that's something they can think of in the future. But it's just really cool because, Kevin, in that law firm right there, the Cherry and I went to law school together. Scott James and I have known each other since we were let's see. He's 3 years younger than I am. So our memories of each other started when I was 7 years old and he was 4 years old. And he's become one of the great attorneys in all of Central Texas. And then he married a real good friend of mine, Leanne Guest, who is now Leanne James. So these are powerful people. And then Johnson and Siegmund, man, the verdicts these guys get are just astounding. So anyway, just wanted to make that announcement, Kev. Just a welcome back, an extension. Of course, we just did an extension with Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor. So. And you'll get to continue to see those new commercials, which are funny and really excellent. And, Joe and Brian do such a great job on those. All right. I'll visit with you. We'll do Campus Confidential next.
For anyone that's in the car buying mode or looking for a car right now or a truck, I would definitely come by Allen Samuels, get to know the people here like I have, how well I'm taking care of the dealership and how well, service and any kind of warranty issues or those sort of things. Because of the way they take care of me, it's made me a Ram driver. I said I don't think they'd want to go anywhere else if they came here.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Central National Bank, this is Nikki. How may I help you?
Yes, can you please transfer me to the loan department?
You want to transfer?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, you can't transfer right now.
What?
Have a good day. Yes, how may I help you?
Hi, I would like to transfer money from my C&B account to another bank.
Absolutely not. No. Have a great day.
Wait, hold.
I'm on your website and I'm trying to find the link for your payment portal.
The portal is currently unavailable. Have a great day.
We've received a few complaints.
Correct. We no longer allow any outgoing transfers, only incoming.
But the good news is, no money is leaving the bank. Like, none. Good job.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com.
It is Mosley and the Mosley Show. And when I get way into the show, Kev, you know this, I'm not always checking my text messages. And so I was just seeing that you were telling me from earlier, like what time we needed to let Coach Campbell go for TCU. I think I ran right through that stop sign, and I just was looking at that. So anyway, he was good. He was very energetic, and so that was a lot of fun having him on.
I did tell the SID that maybe you became just a touch of a Mark Campbell fan. But I told him not to tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because nobody will know.
Yeah. Okay, I was just letting, in fact, I just was texting, who is it? Brady that helped us out, so that was nice. Okay. Have you noticed on some interviews, I'll take the glasses off. I'll wear my normal glasses. Okay, so I think you were just telling me, Kev, just so we get everything in like we need.
Yep.
In a programming note, we'll we'll start that interview at about 2:25. Does that sound right to you?
Something like that.
Or Jake Spavital.
You tune in to 2:25, you won't miss it.
Yeah. All right.
There's so much more until then, so just hang with us.
Yeah, I think that's true. Although you'll have to tell me what else we have.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We've delayed.
Yeah.
Campus Confidential.
Oh, I love it.
And now, you ready?
Yeah. Give me some C&B though. Give me some C&B, sir. I like that Central National Bank when it's. Oh.
I haven't made it. I haven't made it yet that I can do both of the. So you have to choose. It's either this or it's this.
Leave the C&B. So we'll go without the logo right now because.
I don't know if that's good. That's more of my face, but you know.
That's okay. No, we need to see all that.
I mean, you're what you're missing though is the workout body that has been going on.
I'm fine to miss out on that. Folks are really missing out on a lot of me too. What do you have for me today in Campus Confidential? What do you want to be fair about?
Well, okay, so I do have a fitness sponsor, and so. And right now, F45 that's in the shopping center between George's and Paparolo's there in Hewitt, you can meet me and be my guest to work out if you're in the Waco area. So,
are they sponsoring the Mosley Show?
Me.
I'm saying unless they're on the Mosley Show, I don't need
me.
They need to be a part. I know that group. That's a good group. One of those places like that. My man John Henry is on staff there, who played the great former Baylor running back. And wow, if John Henry became my personal trainer, I would transform. I would turn into an athlete overnight. My tennis game would improve. A lot of things would improve.
The owner of F45 ran track at Baylor, and then went on to do. He was an alternate for the American bobsled team.
Okay.
And then he was in training to do WWE before he got an injury and couldn't do that anymore. And now he runs the F45 there in Waco.
Story of my life. Sounds like my life story you're talking about. All right, let's do some Campus Confidential. What's on your mind?
All right.
And thank you, Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor. And thank you for those wonderful new commercials. That's another Mitch Horner. That's another guy I know. The banker, and he was funny in that commercial. I mean, like, how do they have bankers who are such good actors?
Right.
That's not easy to be on camera and to be funny. It's like they got like a bunch of thespians over there at CNB. Mitchell Horner, that's a good Baylor guy. He might have been an old Baylor KOT. We might not have been able to get him into Fiji. So no,
maybe they part-time at Waco Civic. So.
That's a great one. Maybe so. Waco Civic. That's a place I probably should do some things. I'd like to go over the Hippodrome. I'd like to do a couple of sets at the Hippodrome. Okay. Kev,
right.
What's on your mind? I mean, let's go. We got a lot of college stuff to get through here. We need. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Upset City. So TCU upset Iowa State, which I tried to warn you about that might happen. You didn't bite on it, but and then Miami top number 11 UNC after their upset of Duke. So what does this all mean for the bubble teams this time of year?
I love your questions because they're just so like I'm thinking you're going one way, and then you just kind of get into this bubble thing. Let me tell you this.
Well, because
people are
this time of year, like
I know,
yeah,
and people
these upsets matter.
People obsess about the bubble, and I mean, again, I understand why they do it, and I will tell you this: everybody's acting like how weird, how crazy that TCU. This is what they do. This is what they do almost on an annual basis, and so now they'll lose like 4 of the next 5 games, and they will not be in. So they've gone from not even being in the last 4 out, to beating a top 10 in Iowa State. It played horribly, but again, great win for TCU. But they always do this. They'll beat Kansas at home. They'll beat Iowa State. They'll knock off somebody, maybe even Houston, although nobody ever beats Houston, right? The greatest road team in the country. U of H is great at a lot of things, but what they're the greatest at is there's never been a Big 12 team. Even Kansas during the heyday was not as good as Houston is at winning on the road. They're incredible. But TCU but I know they're going to bring up, they almost beat Michigan. They almost beat this team. They almost beat that team. And they did beat somebody. I think they beat Wisconsin earlier this year. And then there was another like stunning win that they had. They have like 3 wins that you're like, whoa. And then somebody wants to say, and they beat Baylor twice, and they beat Oklahoma State. What? Like, why is that on the resume? I mean, I'm sorry. I love Baylor. I went to Baylor. Nobody wants Baylor to be better than more than I do. Baylor's 3-9 in conference. Y'all want to go crow about beating Baylor twice? Well, take that somewhere else. Oklahoma State. Oh, let's look at their record. Oh, okay. Well, they're 3-8, probably 4. I don't know. Maybe they have 4 wins, probably 3 wins in conference. They have 1 great win recently against BYU, and then they went off and did some dumb things and said some dumb stuff. But they're neither Baylor nor Oklahoma State is very good. Oklahoma State does have 1 really good player. Baylor has 2 really good players. Oklahoma State has a guy named Roy. He's good. He's very good. Baylor has Tunde, and they have Cameron Carr. And then it's just kind of like, well, maybe OB can help us. Maybe Ike can help us. But anyway, we hadn't even gotten into that, Kev. We haven't even gotten into the fact I was front row last night for Baylor there. BYU. I mean, come on. All right, what else?
As you said, we got to stretch our legs. Come on now. How
Well,
crushing?
what time do I have to break, by the way? At 20? You want me to break at 20?
2:20. So we've got a little time.
Okay, good.
How crushing is it for Nebraska to slip the way they did after being down 22 and coming back and just literally slipping it out?
Slip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
It happened at their place. I mean, it's really up to, and I love some of the memes and stuff that show like Matt Painter pouring water over at the bench, and then somebody got footage of somebody throwing a water bottle from the stands. I did see that just come hurling through. You should see the video of that, Kev. Yeah, what an unfortunate deal. Now, Kev, set that up for me, though, real quick. I don't know if you have the footage of it, but were they down by one? What exactly? Because I was driving back from the Baylor game last night late, and while I heard all about it and I saw the slip,
Right.
I don't quite understand in my mind what the score was and how much time was left.
I don't remember exactly, but they were still down, and so you're assuming that they would. Yeah, they were still down by one. So you're assuming
how
that
much
they're gonna
time
go
left? Okay, we're gonna need to go to the tape on that because I need to look and see, but that's a bad deal. Kevin's looking right now. Kevin, last night we had those unbelievable seats. Thank you, Chris Petrie. Thank you, buddy. Wow, it pays to have wealthy friends. My daughter and I had these unbelievable seats and just had the greatest time. But Baylor had these two guys. And it's, used to, you'd see like little kids and stuff, and the Mavericks even would have like kind of high school kids or junior high or high school kids that would be down there with the brooms and would come out and wipe up stuff and all that kind of stuff. The way they do it now is they'll have like college age kids that look like hoopers, that look like athletes. I was hoping, Kevin, you had a picture of me last night. Oh, I meant to send you one. I have some good pictures from last night. My daughter put up one of her Instagram stories. I don't even know how to do that. But anyway, Kevin, I was watching them last night. These like real athletic looking dudes, when there's a wet spot or there's a pile up or something, they come out there with just a white towel and they get down there on the ground and wipe it real hard. But these are not your old school, like getting little kids to do this job. This is like athletic looking college age guys that jump out there and do that. So as bad a break as that was for Nebraska, that's on the home team to get those spots cleaned up. And Kev, they got right after it happened, they raced out there.
4 seconds left in overtime. They had to go the length of the court. They're down by one.
Down by one.
So let's not
now
pretend.
You can go a long way in 4 seconds. Now you can
but
dribble. I
let's
saw
not
Ty
pretend that
Sedney one
this was
time,
like
4.7 seconds, dribble the whole length of the court.
They didn't
you can
lose
dribble
the
a
game
long way.
specifically just because of that slip. It
I
was
am
a
aware,
long shot
but it's
to
a
do
big.
that.
It was a big story. That was a big deal that happened last night. And I saw right after it happened that kid, the floor wiper, whatever you call those people, they came racing over to try to clean it up. Wow. Now, what I'm talking about, Kevin, you can look this up because you can see it. It was beer thrown. There was a beer thrown at some point. Now, I'm sure there were some calls people didn't like. There were some calls I didn't like in that game last night. And Scott definitely did. I know, and maybe it's because I'm a Baylor homer or something. I mean, I try not to be all the time. I try to be objective, and I think I do a pretty good job of that. But, Fog Allen, the officials do get impacted, and they get calls. I've seen Baylor get calls in the past, but it does not happen as much as it happens for other home arenas. My gosh, the Baylor people got after Rob Wright last night, and they did a fine job. And I got to say, and I do not care for the BYU coach, That is the cockiest coach in America. His name's like Kevin Young or something. He is the cockiest coach in America. But he did say after the game, he thought the Baylor fans kept it classy. And they chanted trade or all that kind of stuff. And they got after him. But dang it, he was good. You know, I was reminded, Kevin, watching that game last night, of what the Bears lost and what he did to the Bears, because they were going to build that thing around him. He broke down the Baylor defense. He scored 30, and DeBonsa had, 36. So, you get worried about DeBonsa so much. No, nobody had a chance at stopping DeBonsa. Unfortunately, Rob has gotten so strong. He was strong last year, but he's such a better finisher. He was getting better at that last year, but even the Bears bigs, they couldn't turn him away. And even when they would block a shot, and it hurt the Baylor defense that Cam Carr picked up a third foul at the end of the first half. I mean, in a perfect world, you wouldn't be playing him with a minute and a half or 2 minutes left in the first half to get that third foul. But you don't have any depth. You can't put anybody in over there. What are you going to put Najee in? You're going to put Ratai. I mean, Ratai might as well be one of the, more like a walk-on at this point. I mean, that's how you got to put him out there, because he at least he's got size, and he's an okay offensive rebounder. I mean, I saw him get after rebounds, but he can't shoot, doesn't really block out on defense, doesn't really defend. Ooh, it's a bad story. It's a major whiff. Now, that guy right there, Kev, Ike Williams, I call him. Isaac is probably what he prefers, but I like Ike. Plays his rear off. No, he's not as good as Rob Wright. He's not going to be able to defend or stop Rob Wright. He plays Isaac did everything he could. And on offense, he penetrates well. He's actually a pretty good finisher. He really is. He gets to the line. I'm so focused on the negative this year, and I think that's appropriate because they're 3-9 in conference. But that guy right there exceeded expectations. I mean, so did Caden Powell. Caden Powell just doesn't like, there's my man. There's old Ted Brinkley. Teed, they call him. I just call him Teddy Ballgame. Good buddy of mine out there watching on YouTube right now and using the comments section over there appropriately, I might add. You can always comment to me at Matt Mosley on Twitter, but I'm more likely, Kevin and I are more likely to see it when you get in the YouTube comments. And I want to remind everybody at about 2:25, be ready, because we have the offensive coordinator for Baylor, Jake Spavital. And then earlier today, we opened the show with Mark Campbell, the head women's basketball coach at TCU. I find him to be really one of the more entertaining, interesting personalities in the game. And boy, he corrected me, didn't he, Kev? I tried to say they'd beaten Baylor, 2 straight times, 3 straight times. Ouch.
You forgot about the postseason in the tournament. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's rough. But the Bears only had about a 20-year streak on them. They went about 18 or 19 seasons without a win. I don't think they might have beaten Kim once. And maybe when she was first getting started. And then I think she went about, 17 years without a loss to the Frogs. But that's okay. It's okay. Now you sound
like me as a Colts fan when Houston fans start running their mouth right now about their team. I'm like, well, for the longest time, Colts are in charge. So, yeah.
But Nikki is capable, and this team is capable of ending that streak Thursday, and that needs to happen. It's a big game for both teams, But if Baylor wins that, Baylor's well in the driver's seat because TCU's had those close losses in conference, and you don't want to give them a win then because then they'll have a real chance at a regular season championship because they'll get to play you at their place.
Right.
And I thought, Kevin, last thing I'll say, and we can continue a little bit if you want, on any of that Baylor stuff, but I did want to tell you, and you can stay on with me here for a minute. I tweeted about this. As a kid, Kevin, this was a little bit before your time. You weren't quite born yet. But when Clyde Drexler and Phi Slamma Jamma was happening, that was at the SW, you get to see them at the old SWC tournament at Reunion Arena. And so as a kid, I got to see Clyde the Glide and Hakeem Olajuwon and Mr. Mean, Larry Mishaw, Michael Young and Rob and Reed Geddes and that whole bunch, Phi Slamma Jamma. And then when I was really little, Eddie Sutton was still coaching Arkansas, but then Nolan Richardson got involved, and they used to call that place Barnhill South because the Arkansas fans would take it over. But I started thinking last night, like the best college players I'd ever seen in person. I saw with my own eyes, I saw Durant at Texas. Unbelievable. Same could be said for LaMarcus Aldridge. Great player at the University of Texas. Who was the guard that was so good? Augustine was great, but who was the guard before him? TJ. The great University of Texas guard of the early 2000s. Anyway, they had DJ Augustine. He had a long NBA career. He was great, but TJ, who played guard for them, he was one of the best guards of all time at Texas. So anyway, what I'm saying is
TJ Ford?
Correct. I've seen a lot of great college players in person. Getting to see AJ DeBonsa, Kev, sitting on that front row. Oh my gosh. Anything you wanted. It was just like he would dribble in, he would shoot, an array of like 12-foot jump shots. It didn't matter. Cam Carr's so athletic, unbelievable leaper. And DeBonsa is 6'7", looks even almost taller than that. He's a skinny guy, but he could not be stopped. And then he'd get to the rim, and he could dunk if he wanted. He could just kind of lay it in. If I'm picking at the top of the draft and I got to pick between Peterson and DeBonsa, how do you not? Peterson, it's hard to find like unbelievable big guards that are that explosive and shooter. Peterson could end up being one of the best guards to come out in a long time. But DeBonsa is more of the sure thing. Because I looked up at one point and I said, well, okay, at halftime they gave us our little, shot charts, our little box scores. 20 minutes into that game, Kevin, that guy he never sat down because they had a chance to do away with Baylor in that game, and it was like 80-66, it was 81-60. It was like it was over, right? And the Bears have this way, even with a minute and a half or 2 minutes left, down by 12, they always kind of will make it interesting. And at one point they got it to 4, I think. The final was 99-94. And the Bears were shooting to get it to 2 at the end of the game, although that wouldn't have really mattered other than Vegas, because I think the line was 3.5, and Baylor was shooting. That was going to be a backdoor cover to get that thing to 99-97, and that would have meant a lot to people that were betting that game last night. But all that to say, Kev, and by the way, Tunde Yesufu was awesome in that game. He goes for 37, Kev. You had two freshmen who combined for whatever that is, 73 points. 73 points? You kidding me? Tunde was awesome. He was great from the outside. He was efficient. He took like 19 shots. He scored 37 points. On the baseline, he was great. He was finishing. They didn't have anybody who could guard Tunde Yesufu, including AJ. I mean, AJ, for all his unbelievable, and again, he's okay on defense. He's okay. Not great. No one could guard Tunde. And I thought look at that shot. Look at that. DeBonce's right there. DeBonce's
Yep, he's right there.
Standing right there.
Yep.
And it's kind of like
somewhere else.
If you don't close out on him, man, he'll hit that shot. And look at that. I mean, when they start breaking down the draft, Tunde Yesufu, what they'll say is inconsistent shooter, which is right. Not a tight ball handler, which is correct. And so they'll pick his game apart. But what he is a dadgum scorer. And he has the ability to defend a lot of positions because the way he's built. And I don't know if there'll be a stronger kid in this draft. The way he's built, you think Peterson's stronger than him? Peterson's plenty strong. Don't get me wrong, but there's not a kid that'll be in this draft,
right?
That's built like this kid.
Right. You can teach people to handle the ball better. You can teach people how to shoot the ball better, but you can't teach the body mass and athleticism that he has.
And he's built like our man from he's built like Edwards. He's not as big, he's not as tall as Anthony Edwards, and he's certainly far from that kind of game at this point, but it's fun to watch. And these people last night were tweeting at me. They were tweeting at me, Kevin, like, well, you got to stop with the one and dones. Huh? Really? I mean, you think BYU and Duke and all these great programs, you think that's what they're going to do? Well, here's why we've gotten so good. We stopped recruiting. We stopped doing one and dones. I mean, like, you think Tunde is the problem? You think VJ Edgecombe? Now, Misi was so much better quickly than they thought. They lost him too quickly. They didn't think he was one and done until they started seeing him play and develop. So, I mean, like, that's crazy talk to say, well, we need to stop doing one and dones. That's the thing you're great at. Like, don't stop doing what you've actually been great at doing, but you've got to get better in the portal. You can't whiff on a kid like Ratai. You can't whiff on Jeremy Roach. I mean, you tried to, whatever they were trying to do did not work. Agbem, JJ, again, great kid, but he hadn't played since forever. Maybe they can get a red shirt for him or something. I don't know. I think Baylor may have the highest character team in college basketball, but they can't play. And it's sad to see two NBA first round picks, probably. Okay. Cam Carr. Now, I wish they could load up and pay Cam Carr a bunch of money to stay. I don't think he can, and I don't think he should. If Cam Carr is projected to go in the top 25, which he seems to be, I think he probably should go. But to have the Tunde and Carr and not be able to put anything around them is just killer. And I don't even blame the guys that are on the floor. I mean, like, Caden Powell is supposed to be a backup. Obi Agbum really should be a backup player coming off the bench. Isaac Williams should be a backup like he started the season. They're all giving you everything they have. They really are. But, Obi Agbum is not when they take Isaac Williams off the court right now and Obi has to bring the ball up the court, that's in the first half. That's when BYU got back in it. That's when BYU got back in it. Obi, I love Obi Agbum. In the right system as a bench type player, he'd be awesome. He'd be a real help. But then he would go down the court and turn it over because he's not a ball handler. He's not a point guard. He's not a penetrator. He's not a true playmaking point guard. BYU, of course, has more than one, although Rob is your quintessential point guard. And he was a Baylor Bear. And I can, the thought watching Rob last night and thinking of Rob, Tunde, and Carr. Wow. Are they top 10 with that? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, if you put Ratai with them and a couple of these guys, maybe not. But dang, they're way better. I mean, as much as I was fine with them booing Rob Wright. Okay, Kev, we're about to have to take a break and get ready for our big interview. Did you have one more? Anything you wanted to bounce off me? Because I was glad we were able to get all that college basketball in.
Right. In honor of having Mark Campbell on earlier, I had to throw out a women's game from tonight. Do you think number 13 Michigan State capitalize at home when they host number 2 UCLA tonight in the women's game?
Number 2?
Number
UCLA
2.
sitting number 2 right now?
Yep.
Give me the Bruins.
All right. Bruins on the road.
Is that my friend Betts? Is she still hanging out over there?
Uh-huh.
At UCLA? All right. Yeah. Big time. She is she's part of that world, that community. I'd like to get involved in that 6-7 game. Bears have kind of tried that with Nikki. They brought somebody in last year that just wasn't quite ready for prime time, but had that huge height. But she just couldn't really play, as I recall. But dang it, man. You get a couple of towers. That is fun. TCU brings one off the bench. Thanks to my man Simcox, by the way, Kev, also helping me out. My TCU buddy was doing a little helping me with some research on Mark Campbell and his team, and so that helped inform what I thought was a real fun interview earlier today. All right, it is time for the Baylor offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital, on DJ Lagway, the portal, some of these receivers he brought in, why he stayed at Baylor. A lot of great stuff coming up as Jake Spavital, Baylor offensive coordinator, joins the Mosley Show.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor women's basketball, we asked Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now. I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner, overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
It is Matt Mosley Show, and Jake Spavital now joining us, Baylor's offensive coordinator and coach. What an offseason it's been, and just, you know, I'm just thinking your head's got to be spinning because you went to award shows. The portal, it seemingly never ends. I guess it officially did, although you just never know, do you? I mean, I was wondering the whole time, and in typical Mosley fashion, of course, I was trying to reach you during this time, but the DJ Lagway thing, as it's playing out, do you have enough inside knowledge to kind of be like, hey, we're good, we're all good here, or do you at least somewhat experience it like media and fans, like, dang, when is this ever going to end? Because that was kind of, and then of course it's like, okay, celebrate, and then it's like, oh yeah, but he's going to go take this visit. That was quite a process, I think, for everybody to go through. Were you at least in contact enough to stay even keel, or were there some anxious moments for you as well during all that?
Yeah, there were some anxious moments. You know, there's just so many moving parts to really the transfer portal, but also just quarterback recruiting in general. And I think one of the more fascinating things is talking through with really having somebody talk with all the agents out there that are like representing quarterbacks. So you can start to see the domino effect happen. But when DJ actually signed with us, I learned through the ESPN alert that he signed with us. So that was kind of like, we were close enough to feel that, you know, like, all right, hey, like we think we can get this deal done. But you never know what happens with all these other schools that are going in there and just shooting their shot, you know, and just trying to get DJ. And but, you know, there's a lot of domino effects when you just start talking to your buddies, you know, at different schools, and, you know, you were asking them if they're going to take a transfer portal quarterback, and some are saying yes and some are saying no. And, you know, and you have to kind of trust like what they're saying to you as well, as long as doing your due diligence too, of just figuring out like through agencies where these quarterbacks are going to fall. And, you know, we did our part. I thought he had a great visit, obviously, you know, with his dad being, you know, a legacy here. helped out a ton as well, and it's just the familiarity of that. But I'm saying they kept us on the edge of our seat all the way till the end because we were running out of our options because those dominoes were falling to other schools that were our backup options. They would have never signed with us.
When someone that was that huge of a recruit, I guess I should ask you, what were you were probably still at Cal. I'm thinking about like when he was coming out of high school, and I remember Sean Bell trying to recruit him, but we kind of all thought, unfortunately, probably not a shot at him, even with the legacy thing. There's going to be huge money involved. From afar, did you see him at any of those Elite 11 type camps and through the recruiting process back when he was coming out? What was your kind of awareness and thoughts on DJ even before he got to Florida?
Yeah, got to watch a lot of DJ like when I was at Texas State and at Cal. When I took the Baylor job, that was the first priority for me when I got here. I ended up going to Willis High School, and this was kind of like 24 hours before like signing day, and it was kind of a Hail Mary attempt, to try to get him. And I spent literally about 4 hours with him at his high school, just watching ball, talking it through with his high school coach and his dad and his family. And, that's tough to make a decision with a new offensive coordinator that late in the process when all these other schools have been in the mix recruiting. But actually got to build a decent relationship, in the meantime with him and his family. So I think that did help, on the second time around. But, when you just watch his tape, especially in the high school tape, he's very multiple. And like they played an empty every single play. He's throwing it around and just has such a live arm, can make all the throws. And I think that's what a lot of people have noticed, from his high school tape. And with all the yards he put up and the stats, that's why he ended up being the Gatorade, National High School Player of the Year. And really, he's kind of been on that platform ever since he received that award as the Gatorade National Player of the Year.
How do you tailor the offense around him as you get to know him more and more? And obviously, you're going to have a different approach and different style than maybe the way Florida used him. But how do you kind of envision tailoring this offense around DJ? Like what you talked about, the live arm. I saw him live against A&M this year, and in the first half, kind of I envisioned even back to his high school days. There's a couple of those throws you're just like, dang, that you almost have to see live in person to go, that ball got there 40 yards like it was nothing. How do you tailor this to him maybe differently than you have with Sawyer, who you've had a great run with these last 2 years?
Yeah, that's that's probably the most fun and hardest part to do is figuring out what these quarterbacks are capable of doing. And you've seen all the high school tape, and then I've watched all the Florida tape. I think around like 19 games, 18 games that he's been a starter for Florida. So there's a lot of quality tape to see what he can and can't do, on what he put on tape in his college years at Florida. But, I've been able to meet with him a lot lately. He's a very smart kid. He's very smart, like a very experienced quarterback already because of all the games that he's played in college football, especially in the SEC. And you start to kind of ask him a lot of questions on, what are the plays that he kind of like to vibe with. And it's early in the process, he's always like, I like it all. And, I got to keep weeding through all that to just be like, all right, tell me what you hate. Tell me what you like. All right. And then let's just start to build it from there. Now, a lot of this is going to have to go through to see what our receiver, got a whole new, receiver core as well coming in. And to see what they're capable of doing and their strengths and weaknesses as well. But I'm always going to stay with the same principles of, the air raid and the kind of the wide split stuff that, really kind of what I've been kind of grown up in this profession on. It's really going to go back to really kind of what he did a lot more in high school. And so I've been asking him a lot of questions about, what was like in high school. I actually went in the recruiting process when it was open. I went to Willis High School and sat down with his high school head coach, Trent Miller, and asked him like all the freedom that he gave him and how much he put on him and how he likes to be coached too. And I think daily, DJ and I are going to keep building a good, just a good reputation with each other, just a good friendship out of it all. It's like what I did with Sawyer too. Sawyer was such a great person, a pleasing person. I had to kind of weed through all that stuff as well to figure out what he doesn't like, what he's good at, what he's comfortable with, what are the plays that are going to get him back in the rhythm if he's having a hard time. So I've been doing a lot of that with DJ right now, and I think you're going to see a lot of the vertical choice game because he has such an active arm and he can make those throws down the field. So we're gonna do a lot of those choice routes, which he has not ran many of. So you're going to see a lot of those throughout spring football, and just try to get him acclimated with that because I've watched a lot of Florida tape. I know what he what he can do, and the concepts that he was used to repping all the time. So I know that he's comfortable with a lot of that stuff that he did at Florida, but I want to see how we can get back into the spread game and how he's going to be with these choice routes. So that's kind of been really the focus that I've been doing over this month and really moving into all of our meetings before we hit spring football.
You watched other quarterbacks, unfortunately, have some success running the ball against Baylor. And I think the question Sawyer got asked a lot, and, we weren't getting to talk to you a lot during that process, was kind of like, wait, Sawyer, why are y'all not running? And I don't know, maybe you could shed some light on that a little bit. But, obviously you like doing that. You like having quarterbacks who are extremely athletic, and you saw how effective that can be. Where's DJ in that? I remember talking to his dad early in this recent process, and he was talking about how he was trying to get down to a certain weight and, so he could be a little faster or more agile, that kind of thing. What can he offer you in that aspect of the game?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. Just kind of talking with him, at Florida, he was roughly around 245 pounds to 250 pounds as a quarterback. That's a massive quarterback now, and that's probably the biggest one I've ever had to be around. But now he's leaned up a ton. He's probably sitting around 230, 235 right now. And he likes to, he always tells me that he wants the ball in his hands, and that's always a good sign of a great quarterback. And, if you watch some of the stuff that he did at Florida, he did some power read stuff and some bash, counter, QB runs that he was actually pretty explosive on. And I know he likes the Q draw system that we have in place that we did a lot with Sawyer. So I think that, he wants to run the ball. I think you got to utilize him in really situational football. I don't think that I always don't want to run him a ton, it's just, do it in certain moments, because I do think with his ability to extend plays that he's naturally going to run on a lot of those, pass plays that are called. So, I always go back and forth on that to just kind of figure out what type of runner he's going to be. And then, he's a bigger guy, so he can take a lot more hits than what most guys can. So we're going to have to kind of experiment with that. But I do see him as a threat to run the football, in critical moments next year, or just if he needs to extend a play.
Does he remind you? You said he's the biggest that you probably ever had, and it is good to hear that he's leaned down a little bit. I'm just thinking back, Fernando, for goodness sakes. And when you talk about running, that's one of the biggest moments I can, we just had that run call, which he humorously afterwards said he didn't quite know if he was supposed to run or pass. So he said he would stick to the run because I think they came out in a little bit of a hybrid on the defense. But does DJ do anything or have any similarities to any quarterbacks you've been around? Because obviously you've been around some of the greats.
Yeah, and going back to Fernando, I utilized him in the run game, pretty much what I did with Sawyer in a way. That Q draw that he scored on in the national championship game was a play that he's ran hundreds of times with me when I was at Cal. And and it's just the threat where, also on your zone reads and stuff, Fernando had a lot of success this past year as well on those. And I see DJ doing the same exact stuff as that. Now, when you go to like the Johnny Manziels of the world and the Kyler Murrays, that's just like a different speed. That's just a different kind of style of play. And with those two guys, those were shorter quarterbacks. I had to be in a lot more empty to try to give them a lot more windows to, be able to throw the football. And Johnny ended up winning the Heisman in 2012 strictly based off of scrambles. He rushed for almost 1,500 yards, I think, that year. And a lot of it, like, we didn't have really designed QB runs at that time. So that was him just extending plays and just playing his style. But I kind of see DJ as like a guy like I had at Will Greer at West Virginia, who really lethal in the pocket and still can extend plays, and you can utilize him in some zone read or power read stuff that he's done before and be very efficient in that and sprinkle those in. And Will's still playing for the Dallas Cowboys right now as one of their backups. And I think some of the stuff that they talk about when I go up there and see Will is that they just talk about how he can extend plays. He knows when to run. He knows when to be smart with the football. And but you can utilize him in those short yardage runs, which I think you have to have that in today's time. Is like these run boxes are getting so difficult to run the football in if you don't just control someone or have the threat of actually running a quarterback. And I think you're starting to see that through all the Heisman winners and everything as well.
And like Baylor used to have Gary Bohannon, as you recall, and when you can physically impose yourself as a quarterback, it honestly kind of galvanizes the whole offense, doesn't it? When you have that physical of a quarterback,
without a doubt. And when you're sitting there looking at DJ and watching some of the tape that he was doing at Florida, and he's sitting there at like 245 pounds, roughly around there, and he's still running away from people and getting downhill on power run schemes. It's like you're having another big running back in the game as well. Now, that's I always got to protect that quarterback. That's like the main thing. So you got to be very aware of how often you're running them and everything of that nature. But if it's to get game on the line and get downhill, there's no question about it that you got to involve DJ in that.
Is he good at sliding? RG3 was horrible at it, and
we'll see, because I thought Sawyer was bad too. I don't know if you saw some of Sawyer on some of those, but I'd sit there and make a comment on the headset, and I was like, I definitely would let Sawyer know as he walked off, because he was like, man, I'm the worst slider ever.
It's like, you don't want him to be too good at it. You don't want him to be too bad at it. And like Shapen was too good at it. There were a couple of times like, hey, don't slide, fall forward, Exactly. What's your best Fernando Mendoza story? For people that don't know, you got him as a redshirt freshman. And I've heard you talk about, as a scout team, he was like the scout team warrior. And then by the end of that season, he's, starting games for you. And I just to watch him, and I'm sure you remember him being like that. Was he, when you first encountered him, was he already this kind of, I don't remember a college football personality. Tebow had a big personality, and he was an inspiring character, but this guy's a different level, like a CEO, funny, charming, but then he'll kill you on the field. Like it's sort of a package I can't really recall seeing. Is that something that kind of happened over time, or was that the guy you encountered when you got to Cal?
That's the guy I encountered, and that's like so many, really, great memories of him, because he's just so different, and I'm very unique in who he is. And like all these NFL scouts that have came through to see, Sawyer, they ask about Fernando all the time as well. And the thing about it is like what you see is what you get of him. Like a lot of people are like, man, that can't be real. He can't be that way all the time. Like he's like perfect and really crisp with his interviews, and he knows what to say, and he's always, thanking everybody else, and a very selfless person. And that's just who the kid is. Like he's got an unbelievable work ethic. Like the work ethic really just translates to the game. And like he would stay up there all night. He knew exactly what it was needed. He could literally watch every piece of tape. He knew what they were doing. Before really, like just based off their alignment and their body language. all that. Like, he's so detailed in his studies that's why he's successful. But, I just remember like watching him and hearing the stories of him on scout team, the previous year before I got there, of just how intense he was on scout team. And like, it was like he wanted to win every single play, even when he was just trying to prepare the defense. But he's like, dapping up the offensive linemen for like, doing their job and blocking like, the defensive end. And this is scout team, and then like when he has this switch though, when he's like actually out there competing, that man, he's locked in. He's kind of gone through this like monologue with it, like, in his head, before he takes the field about, the approach, the demeanor, like never show weakness, just who he is as a person. And, man, there's so many just kind of bizarre stories to me where this can't be real life. And he just always is the same guy over and over. And now you're seeing him on the Pat McAfee show, or just, winning the Heisman and talking. And that is the Fernando Mendoza that I met the first day that I walked in on campus at Cal back in 23.
How did Baylor, what was the biggest reason Baylor was able to hold on to you? I just obviously, the offense is produced pretty heavily, especially in the pass game over the past couple of seasons. I think even Doug McNamee, the new AD, and I were talking, and he felt like that was a real coup that they were able to hold on. And I know you were one of the coaches he was referring to. How close did you come to pursuing those opportunities? Because obviously, this is a tough situation. This is I think to the outside and even the inside at Baylor, this in some ways could be looked at as a kind of a lame duck type situation. New AD, he didn't hire this guy. There were weird, crazy things that happened with the AD during this season. What was it about either Baylor or Dave's vision that you said, you know what, I'm gonna give this another year?
Yeah, when you go down to like hot seat talks and all that, I'm a coach's kid. Like, I was raised in this profession. Like, I feel like every single year you're on the hot seat, so like I'm never afraid of that. I was sitting there, like in the off season, like I've been very fortunate. We've been having success offensively, and I had a lot of opportunities to leave in this off season, and some were, head coaching opportunities at Group of 5 schools that, I do believe that I could be a head coach again, and I think I'm a way better head coach. I would be a way better head coach than what I was when I first inherited at Texas State, and I know I'll be a lot better now. And I think that's just the growth and development that I've had over the years. And I'm very comfortable with here at Baylor. I love listening to the vision of Doug and what he's trying to do. And I think he brings a lot of excitement. This community has been very great to my family as well. And I've kind of moved around a lot, really young in my career. I was moving almost every single year because I was just trying to get my foot in the door. And, I was advancing up the ladder, and now I'm in a point where I don't have to go and make splash, go to a job to make a splash for my career. I know that we can develop what we need to here at Baylor. I know we got the resources and the support. I think Dave has a great vision on what we're trying to accomplish this next year. And my family's in a really comfortable spot. And, there's been some hardships that my family has gone through, and this community has been great to us. And I just really enjoy my time, and I do believe in this university can do great things. And especially in today's time with the transfer portal, you can really flip a whole roster really quick, and get what you need and the deficiencies and really try to, flip the narrative of what it was the previous year. You see it every single year, especially with like Arizona this past year, like how good they were from one year to the next. It's just fascinating to me what you can do in college football in today's time.
Do you even have time to look at the Signetti? Dave talked about that y'all needed to revamp and maybe make some changes to the evaluation process. Now, some of that, obviously, he may have been talking to the D-line, may not have been on your side of the ball, but I'm sure you saw some of that play out in the portal. Do you find yourself, though, like you look at, it's, what happened at Indiana, you just talked Arizona. Signetti brings 20 guys from James Madison. you go, well, is that just a one-time thing? I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing, whatever it is. Do you find yourself kind of studying how some of these other places, you just mentioned Arizona, do it? And that informs you as you're kind of trying to quickly, I mean, this is like speed dating, right? You're like, oh, Colorado receiver, I kind of think I'd like to go on a date, do you study any of that stuff? Yeah.
And I study it all the time, like when I was at Texas State, like I was there like in the COVID year. And then this is when the portal started really happening, was kind of in that kind of the year of 2020, 2021. Most people don't really recognize it till roughly around now, but in group of 5, you're losing all your players every single year, and it was kind of like, what are other teams doing? And like, that's what was happening with Signetti as well. When he was at James Madison, like, your top players are going to get picked off and go to other places. And like, that's what was happening in the Sun Belt at the time. And he was the head coach of James Madison when I was the head coach of Texas State. So we'd always talk, and everybody was talking about, we would have pre-game discussions, like with other coaches in the league about, oh, here's my starting tight end. I'm going to lose him after the year. My quarterback's playing really well, so I got to find another backup because he's not going to be next year. And I've kind of just grown up, having to try to be a little bit ahead of the curve. So we're always like talking, discussing, trying to see what other schools are doing. And then you're now seeing the success happen at a national stage in Power 4, where a team like Indiana just has one of the most remarkable seasons in college football history. And that has to do with, what guys you're bringing in. But I think what is interesting about Signetti that we've talked about before he brings in production. He brings in production, it's the development piece is there, but you really want to find guys that are very productive in what they do. And do they like football? And do they enjoy football? Because like the speed dating aspect of it all, we had like 60 official visits in 15 days. All right. So like, you're just running these guys in and out, and you're trying to figure out how they're wired. Do they like football? Like, what are their intentions? What's their football knowledge? Especially just with quarterbacks, and then, you're just trying to figure out what they know, what they do, explain things. And you got to do it in really a 24-hour period. So you've got I think that's what Coach Aranda is talking about is that we've got to be very calculated with the type of people that we bring in. Are they tough kids? Do they love football? Are they good people? And Coach Aranda is big on, better people make better players. And we spend a lot of time on that. I think that's a big deal with all the moving parts now of rosters, is making sure that these guys are good people and they like football and they're going to put the team first.
All right. And man, I really am enjoying this, but I want to be respectful of your time, because as we say, you're getting to know all these guys and watching film. And I think my viewers, listeners, whatever we do now in this YouTube world, would really want to know about some of these skill players you've brought in. Draylon Miller being one from Colorado, Hardly Gilmore, the fourth, and then Gavin Freeman. Again, there's like you said, y'all basically revamped the whole team. You've had great receivers. I mean, we can point at the problems with Baylor over the last couple of years or whatever, but I don't think the receiver room's one of them. The receivers you brought in, it matched up. Even thinking, I saw Taz on the court last night attempting a half-court shot. DJ came out and was featured in that as well. But those guys you've brought in, what do they bring to the table? What kind of stands out? Because it seems like what I'm hearing is Miller may have some kind of uncommon type ability.
Yeah, Miller's the one that I have to figure out. I'm so excited for spring football just to see what he's capable of doing. You look at his Colorado tape, they had him in the backfield running routes. They had him at slot. But when you go up there and you watch him run, because we've been able to watch him work out, when you watch him, get in and out of breaks, you watch him lift, he's a big kid. Like I'm saying, I feel like you can play him outside, he can play inside, and they're playing him in the backfield as well. So I think he is a very experienced kid. He's played a lot of ball. And that's another thing that we're looking into as well, is that these transfers, we open up in, Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium versus Auburn, which is a big game. These guys have played in big games before, and I don't think they're going to be afraid of the moment as well. So I just like how Draylon, how he leads and what type of kid he is, but he's probably the most fascinating one for me to figure out what he can do, because they're utilizing him in the backfield and slot receiver a lot at Colorado, but I feel like he's good enough too that you can put outside as an outside receiver. So I'm going to mix and match him up all spring to just see what he's good at. But he is a big kid and a strong kid as well. When you get to like Hardley is, he was at a very successful kid at Kentucky in the receiver room, and out there just making a lot of great plays. Like he's had a lot of great compliments, like the Stoops family, they loved him. They thought he did a great job. The receiver coaches out there at Kentucky love him. I think he brings more of some outside straight line speed that we need. So Draylon, I don't know how fast he is and how he's going to win over the top, but I think he's going to be a very physical presence underneath. But I think Hardley's going to bring some speed and some, some threat on the perimeter that's going to scare some defenses. And he has played in a lot of games in the SEC. And then, when you get to Gavin Freeman, that kid has a fascinating story because he's played games at Oklahoma. He's played games at Oklahoma State. He just wants to be on the field. He doesn't care how or where, and that's, but he's played in a lot of very similar systems to how I've kind of coached, with, even at Oklahoma State with Doug Meacham. Doug Meacham was the inside receiver coach for me at Oklahoma State in 2010. You go to, Oklahoma with Jeff Lebby, who's got Baylor ties, all that. Like we've always traded stuff, over the years as well. So he's ran a lot of familiarity with us. And I think he's probably got the best feel, all right, for, coverage recognition and how to get open. Because when you run choice routes, the best ones just kind of have that knack to get open, kind of like those Danny Amendola's, Wes Welker types. And that's kind of where I see Gavin Freeman right now.
All right. Love that. And, when I start envisioning receivers from the past, when you start talking about a kid like that, and like that Presley kid for Oklahoma State came to mind, it's just like somebody that, again, may not have the prototypical size, but you desperately want that guy on your team because he's going to make tough catches. And by the way, you've had some of those guys. Some of them came from, Texas State and other. I mean, you've had some really good ones who make tough catches, and that's going to be fun, isn't it, to watch all these guys you just had, Sawyer and Cameron and Trigg, go through the draft process. And listen, Trigg, for instance, what y'all did with him was really remarkable. I mean, I think he had, of everything I've heard and talked to people, major maturity issues and things probably scouts would worry about. And yet I just think y'all figured it out and got him kind of focused on the right things. And it's kind of an amazing story. So again, that's going to be one of your huge success stories down the road. Who knows what Trigg will become, but we've never seen that. I mean, I've only been watching Baylor now for about 50 years. And I'm sure they've had great tight ends. Ben Sims comes to mind, the great Ronnie Lee, who became an offensive tackle in the NFL, but nobody's done that. And so the only problem is when you've had an otherworldly talent like that, it's like fans are like, okay, who's doing that next year? Right? It's like, oh, Livingston, can he do that? Can Kloppenstein start making one-handed catches?
Yeah, to put it in perspective, I haven't seen it either. And that was, I was really kind of making the point was, he finished roughly around second to Mackey. I'm guessing he'd probably be right over the Mackey Award, and if he would have hit that, I think we have won almost every award, close to it, and or been nominated into those categories, really in every college football award out there. So I always mess with Trigg that that was the one that we needed, man, to really kind of hit all the trophies, just win that Mackey Award. But unfortunately, he didn't get to play in some of those last games of the season. But that kid's a special talent. I'm so curious to see where he goes because I do believe an organization is going to get an unbelievable player.
Jake, thank you. Man, we've followed your wife's inspiring story and your family, and it's a lot to balance because coaching hours, don't always, it's not a ton of family time. So glad Baylor got to hold on to you, and really appreciate you spending the time with us today.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on the show for the first time.
You bet. Jake Spavital on the Matt Mosley Show. Really enjoyed that. What a great show today. Major women's basketball for tomorrow night. So to talk to the TCU head coach, that was fun. And then obviously Nikki Collin yesterday. So great stuff from Jake, and a lot to look forward to. Baylor football as they'll turn the page and have an exciting quarterback and a great another really exciting wide receiver room. And my next conversation, I'll ask him about running back. I felt like I was keeping him too long there, but that was a lot of fun. It is the Matt Mosley Show. We will see you tomorrow at 1:00.
Okay, that was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Matt Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mappiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.